The palace was silent, save for the soft rustle of silk, as Princess Elara sat before the mirror, staring at the one thing she hated most in the world, her hair. It was wild, unruly, a crown of thick, coarse curls that refused to obey any brush or braid. Unlike her mother's flowing golden waves, or the silky straight strands of the court ladies, Elara's hair was a tempest, and in her eyes, it made her look anything but royal. She tugged at a coil angrily, tears stinging her eyes. "Why can't I just be normal?" she whispered. She was 12, too young to understand that self-worth doesn't come from reflections, and too old not to feel the sting of being different. Every week, she sat through torturous hours of hair straightening by her attendants, who whispered behind her back about how nothing worked on her hair. Court guests complimented her grace, her eyes, her voice, but never her crown of curls. At royal balls, visiting princesses laughed gently behind embroidered fans, and she noticed. She always noticed. One day Elara refused the ceremony of hair taming. "Let it be," she said, crossing her arms. "Let it be ugly." Her attendants gasped. But for the first time, Elara walked the halls of the palace with her hair completely free, defiant, frizzing, beautiful in its own stormy way. She felt exposed, and braver than she'd ever felt before. That night, after a long state dinner, Elara slipped out to the edge of the palace gardens, her secret sanctuary. Beneath the jasmine tree, she found something, or rather, someone, that would change her life. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8, sat huddled by the stone fountain. Her clothes were torn, her cheeks smudged with dirt, and her hair was just like Elara's. They locked eyes. "I'm sorry," the girl said, standing quickly. "I didn't mean to steal anything. I was just hungry." Elara blinked, stunned. "What's your name?" The girl hesitated. "Maris. And your family?" "Gone." Elara paused only a moment. "Come with me." From that night forward, Maris became her shadow. The king and queen protested, but Elara stood firm. "She stays with me." She gave Maris a warm bath, food, and her old clothes, though Maris still preferred bare feet. The servants grumbled, but Elara didn't care. For the first time, she had someone who looked at her not for her crown or status, but with gratitude, with love. And then came the storm. One summer evening, a fire erupted in the northern village. Wind swept through dry fields, turning cottages into torches. The palace scrambled into action. Servants loaded carts with supplies, soldiers prepared for evacuation efforts. But Princess Elara did something no one expected. She rode to the village herself. The king forbade it. The queen begged her to stay. But Elara only said, "What good is a princess who won't stand with her people?" She and Maris arrived at dawn, soot filling the skies. Smoke clung to their clothes, and heat pressed against their skin. Elara rolled up her royal sleeves and got to work. She helped carry water buckets. She held crying children. She tore her silk cloak to bind wounds. Her wild curls clung to her sweat-soaked face, blackened with ash, knotted by wind, and yet people began to notice. "She's just like us," a woman whispered. "Look at her," a boy said. Like a lion, a local elder, his hands trembling with age, placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will remember what you did today, not for your title, but for your heart." By nightfall, the flames were under control. Hundreds of villagers had been saved, and none could forget the image of the soot-stained princess carrying a child in one arm and leading with the other. When she returned to the palace, the entire kingdom buzzed with the story. News spread. Papers called her the Flame-Bearer Princess. Artists painted her with wild hair blazing like a warrior's helm. Children in the village drew curls on their dolls and braided flowers into their own textured hair. And when she passed through the great hall the next day, with Maris at her side, her hair loose and proud, The court didn't laugh. They bowed. Years passed. Elara became queen at 25, known across the lands for her fairness, her courage, and yes, her curls. She built homes for orphans and schools for girls, where mirrors were replaced with books and dreams. Maris, her closest advisor, often said, "You gave me a home, but your hair gave me courage." One day, during a royal tour, a girl stepped forward from the crowd, tears in her eyes, hair wild and beautiful. "Thank you," she whispered. "I used to hate my hair, but then I read about you." Elara knelt, smiling. "I used to hate mine too," she said, "but it helped me find who I was, and helped others find their strength." She pulled a ribbon from her pocket and tied it gently in the girl's hair. "That's what makes us heroes," she said. "Not how we look, but how we rise." Message. We all carry something we've been taught to hate about ourselves. But in truth, those parts, those differences, often hold the very power we need to change the world. The things that make us feel out of place can become the reason someone else feels seen. Be proud of your story. Be proud of your crown, even if it grows wild and free.